Hello and welcome to episode number 16 of AEW Rise to the Top in TEW 2020, where we are taking over AEW. We are the owners and we're going to make them the biggest wrestling company in the world. So far, we're at number 5. We've dropped from 3 to 5 because I still don't really know what I'm doing with this game, but who cares? So tonight we have the first episode of Dark post All Out. It's the first episode of Dark that's going to be going out live on Tuesday nights in front of its own sold out, hopefully, crowd, maybe. Who knows? So yeah, let's just jump straight into it. We've got a couple debuts on the show tonight, which I'm very excited to see how they do. So yeah, let's not waste any more time. Let's just get into it. And we are coming at you live from Metroplex Live in Arkansas in front of 1,225 people. A wonderful turnout here for Dark. And let's just jump straight into it. So our first matchup shows Desmond Xavier and Zachary Wentz, the Rascals, debuting against Dark Order members Alex Reynolds and John Silver. And in about that had a decent reaction from the crowd, but subpar wrestling. The Rascals defeated Alex Reynolds and John Silver in 9 minutes and 8 seconds when Desmond Xavier pinned Alex Reynolds with a hot fire flame. The segment got 53, which is really nice for two newbies. Wentz had a performance of 61 and Xavier had 66. Silver 35 and Reynolds 28. We don't really care about those. Both of the Rascals debuted their underdog gimmick. Xavier got great and Wentz got very good. And the hybrid Rascals Dark storyline has started with this segment. Alex Reynolds was off his game, which he got 28. Is that really off his game? Announcing quality, again, penalised for having very low experience, but again, that'll happen from time to time. Let's see what it says there. Marketable gimmick will sell more merchandise. Not suitable to be used by a heel. He's not a heel, though. He's a face. So, he is a face, right? I'm sure he's a face. He should be a face. I set him to be a face. Anyway. Let's hope. Anyway, so let's move on to the next segment. So, after the match, Desmond grabs a microphone. Hello everyone, we are the Rascals, and I guess because we're here right now, we're all elite. Zachary Wentz. That's right, we're all elite and we're here because we are young and hungry for gold. So FTR, watch your backs. So the hybrid Rascals Dark storyline advanced. It's got a 57. Just a little welcome to AEW promo from the Rascals. New signed. Very happy with that debut actually. Good ratings, God, people weren't pleased to see these guys, which is nice. So let's move on to the next segment. And this is more like it. This is what Dark is all about. Jamie Hayter taking on Sadie Gibbs, two female British wrestlers going one-on-one. And Jamie Hayter defeated Sadie Gibbs with a curb stomp in 8 minutes 52. The crowd didn't seem thrilled with Jamie Hayter being there, and they were turned off for having a match outside the pre-show with people they don't have investment in, which is fine. Called the crowd a little, 27 rating. The announcing quality gave it a little boost. A lot of penalties in this one. Holding back negative crowd reaction, holding back inexperience. Fans consider unimportant. But you know what? This is my new look for Dark, is just use these people until they're over. Who cares about the ratings of Dark? They're going up on YouTube. All they need is a rating of 6. So who cares? I'm trying something new, which will hopefully, help in the future of the series. So let's move on to the next segment, and we see a hype video for the debuting Jasper Cown, showing him destroying his opponent. That got a rating of 47. The Newbies Dark storyline has advanced with this segment. Jasper Cown going to be in the main event tonight, debuting. Very nice work. Let's move on to the next segment. And in this matchup, we see Jamie Hayter's tag team partner in Stardom, B. Priestley, taking on Chris Statlander. And it is Chris Statlander who picks up the victory in just over 10 minutes with the Big Bang Theory. That segment got a 29 rating. Again, see, this is all these women's matches that I'm going to be putting on Dark are just going to have such low ratings. I did, after All Out, I looked at starting a new show. I was going to call it AEW Spotlight, and it was just going to be like a women's wrestling show. But no one would take it because they thought that for a company our size to have 3 shows was too many. So no one would broadcast it, which was a bit annoying. But, oh well. They both had a performance of 37. The Bunny or Alien Dark storyline has advanced with this segment. Crowd didn't seem thrilled with B. Priestley, and pre-show people again called the crowd more. Just the same penalties as normal. Let's move on to the next segment. And it is our main event of the evening. Jasper Cowan debuting, taking on Colt Cabana, Boom Boom. And in a decent match, it is Jasper Cowan who picks up the win on his debut in 15 minutes and 9 seconds by pinfall. I don't know what his finisher is. I forgot to add it into his moves, so I will do that before he shows up again. Cowan had a 52 and Cabana had a 55. He debuted his badass gimmick, and it got an initial rating of poor, which is a bit annoying. Marketable gimmick will sell more. Large boost to microphone skills. Oh, this is cool. I didn't know that. I didn't know all this stuff happened. I should look at this stuff more often. Colt Cabana had a grand sort of public support, 54. The dirt sheet. Penalties for disinterested crowd. Yeah, that's fair. Announcing quality, low ability, declining physical ability, holding back, inconsistency, and holding back again. Yeah, a fairly solid episode of Dark. You know, it's probably going to be quite a highly rated one, maybe? I'm not really sure. We had 2 good matches and 2 bad matches. Let's just, you know what, why even bloody guess when you can just click finish show? And it'll tell you, 47. Not bad. It's just these women's matches are just so low at the moment. But that's okay. Eventually they will come up. I didn't realize you could see what I typed in here. Rascals say hello. So that's it for Dark. A nice quick breezy episode of Dark. And I'll be back in a few seconds with Dynamite. Do not go anywhere. Or do. Come back later if you want. But I'd rather you watch the whole thing in one go. It looks good on the little stat thing when I open up the YouTube app on my phone, and it's got a little green arrow going up. And it's like, hey, they watch for longer than normal. So keep going for me, please. I'll love you forever if you do that. Anyway, I'll see you in a minute on Dynamite. Hello and welcome back to AEW Dynamite, where it's Dynamite. You know, it's the show. Last week we got 70, which was real nice. Let's just get straight into it. Let's not mess around. Let's just do it. So we are coming at you live from the Cabarrus Arena in front of a sold-out 5,500 people, and kicking us off tonight, we have got Jungle Boy taking on the monster Wardlow. Jungle Boy, who picks up the win in 15 minutes 44 by pinfall. This segment got a 42. Jungle Boy got a 42. Wardlow got a 38. Luchasaurus at ringside. They have good chemistry. They're both going to be done for inexperienced, aren't they? Yeah, and inconsistency and holding back slightly. Well, at least they're equal in that respect. A nice little opening matchup, getting Jungle Boy and Wardlow some Dynamite TV time. And let's move on to the next segment. So next up we have Kathy Kelly interviewing the Elite backstage. So Kathy Kelly says, "Guys, last week we all saw you tell Hangman that Kenny wasn't at the arena, only to find him wrestling later in the main event. Are you expecting people, specifically Adam Page, to believe that you didn't know he was here?" Then Cody pipes up. "Kathy, we have been the first ever AEW Trios Tag Champions for 2 weeks now, and the only time we get on TV is when Page or Omega want us to be. We've all spoken with Page. He believes us. He's nursing an injury after being thrown off that stage, and won't be here for a few weeks, but he's okay. So frankly, I just want to talk about us being the champs." Nick Jackson. "Exactly, Cody. We haven't even been able to get in front of a crowd to show off these beautiful belts yet, and that's just wrong." Matt Jackson. "Which is why we're going to be in action next week in the main event, where the Elite rightfully deserves to be." So they got a 66 rating. So yeah, Hangman's not going to be here for a few weeks. Picked up a slight injury after being thrown through that table off the stage. The Hangman Omega storyline advanced, and the trio storyline advanced. Cody and Matt were good. Kathy Kelly she looked dreadful, but she was good at improvising. I don't understand. Who knows what that means. And Kathy Kelly just has a poor gimmick. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's just her gimmick that's bad, but it's too early to change that, unfortunately. So who knows? Let's move on to the next segment, where we see the tag team champions FTR taking on Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian of SCU, and it is FTR, the tag champs, who pick up the victory in 11 minutes 44 after pinning Christopher Daniels with a Goodnight Express. This got a 69 rating, a very nice tag match. 68 for Dax, 73 for Cash, 59 for Frankie, and 48 for Christopher Daniels, who was the weak link. Dax Harwood seemed off his game with a 68, so that's pretty good. Cash Wheeler is getting better at his gimmick, which is lovely. Both teams have excellent chemistry together. What are the penalties? Inconsistency, poor gimmick, and Christopher Daniels is getting old. But he's still got it. He's still got it. He might be like 50, but he's still going. Let's move on to the next segment of the show, where we go backstage again. Well, what am I doing? There we go. Go backstage again to Kathy Kelly, this time interviewing Deonna Purrazzo, who made her debut last week. Kathy Kelly: Deonna, although you lost in your debut match last week, you seem to have surprised a lot of people in your performance. What do you say to those people? Deonna: surprised at my performance? The only reason anyone watching my match last week should be surprised is that somehow that washed up has-been Tenille Dashwood managed to beat me. I outclassed her and I out-wrestled her. Cheerleader Melissa enters the backstage area. Look, kid, you did okay, but I can help you get better. If you let me help you, you will be AEW Women's Champion. Deonna: I don't need your help. You're just as much of a has-been as Tenille. Deonna walks off, leaving cheerleader Melissa standing alone. So now, 33 rating, pretty terrible. Deonna Purrazzo improvised well, which is good. Kathy Kelly struggled when going off script, even though 15 minutes ago in the segment she was fine. Cheerleader Melissa didn't like not having a script, but again, before, she's loved not having a script. I'm really confused about how this whole scripting thing works. The protege storyline has advanced with this segment. So cheerleader Melissa trying to get Deonna Purrazzo to get under her wing. That doesn't make sense. She's trying to look after Deonna Purrazzo and help her to become a better competitor. So yeah, but Deonna Purrazzo not having any of it. Now let's move on to the next segment, where we have a graphic comes on screen showing a number one contenders fatal 4-way elimination match coming up next for the AEW Women's Championship. After we return to a shot of the crowd, we see Toni Storm sitting, watching the match unfold intensely. Toni Storm is all elite. We managed to nab the NXT UK Women's Champion from right under their nose. She debuted her cocky gimmick, which got an initial rating of poor, which is annoying because it said that she was really good at these, or she was better. But I can't remember. I think I might have messed around with the safe, unique, whatever the 4 things are. I think I might have played around with that a little bit for the first time, and clearly it didn't work out very well. But the Women's Championship storyline has advanced. It's got a 60. Toni Storm getting a nice bonus for high morale. Yeah, Toni Storm is here, already watching the AEW Women's Championship picture unfold. So let's move on to that matchup now. And it is the Bunny taking on cheerleader Melissa against Tenille Dashwood versus Riho. So in a bout that had a decent reaction from the crowd, but subpar wrestling. It is Tenille Dashwood who is going forward to face Dr. Britt Baker after winning this elimination matchup in just under 14 minutes. The order of elimination was Riho, then cheerleader Melissa, and then the Bunny being the last competitor. That segment got a 48 rating. The Bunny had a 47, cheerleader Melissa had a 49, Tenille Dashwood had a 44, and Riho had a 42. The Women's Championship storyline advanced. They didn't like seeing the Bunny or Tenille Dashwood. I did have Nyla Rose in this originally, but it said that this match was far too long for her, even though it was only 14 minutes long. So I swapped her out for the Bunny, knowing that we'd get that negative. But I think the Bunny is good. I like her. So now let's move on to the next segment of the show, where we see Tenille celebrating when Dr. Britt Baker's music hits. Tenille turns around to face the Doctor, but no one is there. Tenille is then blindsided from behind by Dr. Baker, who unleashes a flurry of blows. She gets Tenille in the lockjaw until Riho comes in to break it up. Riho helps Tenille to her feet while Baker heads towards the back, laughing. So Britt Baker getting a quick cheap shot in on on the number one contender, Tenille Dashwood. And these two will be going one-on-one in a few weeks' time. Not quite sure when yet. We'll see how it all unfolds. This got a 50 rating, which is pretty nice, especially for the women's division. Again, we're still trying to build it up to make it as good as it should be. I don't know. Yeah, this game doesn't do the or this mod, I guess it's not really the game, doesn't do the women's division much justice. But to be fair, neither have real life AEW, so I guess it works. But yeah, so a pretty decent little attack thing there. The only penalty was Tenille Dashwood having a poor gimmick. But yeah, so let's move on to the next segment. And next up, we go backstage again to Kathy Kelly. We're really getting our money's worth out of her tonight. Who is interviewing Hikaru Shida. She says, after losing the AEW Women's Championship, what's next for you? And Shida says, the loss was hard, but I will bounce back. I'm back in action next week, and I will be back to winning. So strong words there from the former women's champion. This got a 30 rating. Kathy Kelly again struggled going off script, and Shida bloody loved it. Again, penalties for poor improvising and poor gimmick, but that's all right. You know, Kathy Kelly, she's better than the bloody game says that she is, isn't she? She's great. But yeah, Shida, just a nice little promo. Say we're going to see Shida again next week. Her first match after her loss at All Out. And now let's move on to the next segment of the show, where we have that match that was announced last week. The Inner Circle, Chris Jericho, Santana and Ortiz taking on Darby Allin and Private Party. And in a bout that had good heat and decent wrestling, it is the Inner Circle who managed to pick up the victory in 20 minutes and 34 seconds after Jericho pinned Mark Quinn with the Judas effect following interference from Scorpio Sky on the outside, the dastardly Scorpio Sky. Ortiz had a 65, Santana had a 66, Jericho had a 68, Allin had a 70, Quinn had a 60, and Cassidy had a 58. This got a 59 rating all overall. All over. I mean, it did all over also, but mainly overall. The Inner Circle storyline advanced and gained heat, which is beautiful. The match dragged at the end. Yeah, I changed it at the last minute from storytelling to steal the show, which then makes it go all out, so then it can't go more than 20 minutes. So even though it's only 34 seconds over, we're probably still going to get a penalty for that. It was too long for All Out, which is a bit annoying. But these things happen. Darby Allin had a hot new move, which is good. So now let's move on to the next segment. And here we have Pac is walking around backstage, once again, as always, in full gear. He sees Chuck Taylor standing around with a few other wrestlers. Pac looks at them and says, "Get the fuck out of here." All of the wrestlers start to scamper away. Pac grabs Chuck as he tries to leave. "Did you have anything to do with the car at All Out?" Chuck: "What do you mean?" Pac punches Chuck across the face. Pac: "The car that hit Ray Phoenix. The attack that meant that you and your freak friends got our title shot." Chuck: "Shit, man, no, we had nothing to do with that. We were all backstage when it happened, nowhere near the car park." Pac low blows Chuck and leaves him lying on the floor in pain. 77 rating. Pac is so good. I can't wait for him to get back over there. Oh yeah. Oh yes. Death Triangle storyline advanced, which is good. Pac worked the crowd well, and so did Chuck Taylor. So yeah, apparently not a lot of rumour backstage that maybe it was the best friends who, probably gained the most out of Ray Phoenix being hit by that car to get that championship match up, although they did lose it. But apparently they had nothing to do with it. It would be quite out of character for the best friends to do something like that. But Pac just still pissed off. Not happy that he hasn't found out who's done it yet, and just low blowing Chuck and leaving him to just lie there in pain. And now let's move on to the next segment of the show, and we go to a video playing of Jake Roberts backstage in a dark room, we wanted to thank the locker room. We wanted to thank Matt Cardona for being the sacrifice. But the thing about monsters is they always need more. So this is another warning. AEW, next week, we need another victim. This is not a David and Goliath story. You saw what happened at All Out. Who's going to be brave enough to take on the Murder Hawk? They got 65. That's a bit disappointing. I thought it was going to be much higher than that. I thought it was going to be like in the 90s. But yeah, the Murder Hawk Monster storyline advanced, and Jake Roberts benefited from a groundswell of public support. So that is next week. We've already got confirmed the Elite in a in a trios match. Hikaru Shida in one-on-one action, and the Murder Hawk Monster Lance Archer doing another open challenge just because he wants to hurt people, which is fair enough. You know, he's a wrestler, that's what they do. But now let's move on to the main event of the show, the number one contender for the AEW World Championship, Maxwell Jacob Friedman taking on Colt Cabana. And in a decent match that lasts just over 10 minutes, it is MJF who picks up the victory with Assault of the Earth. They got a 55, bit of a disappointing main event really. MJF had a 58, Colt Cabana had a 51. The Better Than You storyline lost heat, which isn't good. Yeah, look, this I should have made the big 6-man tag the main event really. This should have been more of an opener than a closer, but that's my bad. That's me not looking at the card properly before I hit play. But let's go to the finish show page, see how we got on. I don't think it's going to be very good. 64. We didn't lose popularity in any regions. We gained it in 23, which is okay. Yeah, pretty lackluster show there. Only one dark green rating, which is the pack hunting. I guess the Inner Circle wouldn't have made that much difference. Only 4 points in it. But yeah, a bit of a poor show, that one on my part. I don't think I booked that as well as I could have done. But you know, these things happen occasionally. So now let's go back to the home screen. We'll just see how much NXT beat us by, and we'll go through emails and all things like that. I'll see you in 2 seconds. Okay, so here we are back, and the main article is that Tony Storm quits. Those who like their regular dose of indie sleaze will be delighted to hear that it seems that Tony Storm has walked out on WWE, that classic indie promotion WWE, with the rumour mill claiming anything from missing payments to a locker room brawl as the reason behind the exit. Now, we just offered a load of money, mate. It was simple as that. Anything else on here? Death Yama-san misses show. Not good. AAA are apparently going to bring in some new people. Ethan Page is going to enter a new feud. I don't know who Ethan Page is. I recognise the name. And WWE extend their deal with Vic Joseph. So let's see how we got on against NXT. So we got a 64 and NXT got a 71. They got a 2.3 TV rating. What did we got on the TV rating? 2.01. Yeah, not great. Ring of Honor, let's see them get like a 80. Oh, 77. Wow. Slacking there, Ring of Honor. And Stardom 5-star, they got a 51. Anyone here that I recognise? By that I mean, is there anyone here who also works for AEW? No, there's not. So let's see the emails. Tony Storm has walked out of WWE. Yeah, we signed a Tony exclusive deal, so she kind of had to. Yeah, drugs testing and just the ratings. So all in all, I think a really good episode of Dark and a sort of average run-of-the-mill episode of Dynamite. But occasionally, you know, you need those, you need the troughs so you can have the peaks, you know. And I guess that episode of Dynamite was just one of those troughs, and that's okay. So if you enjoyed this episode, then you know, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Tell a friend who likes wrestling and also this game, and I will see you for the next episode very soon. Goodbye.